Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hello, and welcome back to Referrals Podcast. Yes, this is another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. I did get some notes and Facebook messages that I forgot to call that episode amazing in the opening, which isn't that amazing that how much you notice that I say amazing. It's amazing. So here's the thing. I absolutely love the feedback that we got on the first 5 of the top 10 most downloaded and most popular episodes of 2023. Today, we count down the final 5. I can't wait to disclose these. And for those of you that are maybe new to the podcast, you have been referred to the Referrals Podcast or came across it in some other way. Welcome to the Referrals Podcast. What we do is we interview real people. They tell us their real stories, and we talk about real referrals. So there's no made up things here. We're not fabricating numbers. We're not interviewing people who are celebrities because, they're not getting referrals or don't care about referrals necessarily. And this is about, people like you and me who are growing their business through referrals, through customer service, through doing the right thing, and through our values. And our values within the generosity generation are love, generosity, and appreciation. Love is the most powerful source in the world. The more you age, the more wisdom you accumulate, the more books you read, you're going to find that love is the inner fabric of the universe and the inner fabric of people within humanity. And but the thing is love is a latent superpower. It's just sitting there until you put it into action. And that's where generosity comes in. Generosity is love in action. So what we've got to do is take action. And how do we do that? What action do we do on a daily basis? We do generosity. What is generosity? Give massive value first. Give massive value first to others. And generosity is our second, value. And the third value is appreciation, right? So generosity is love in action. It's proactive. You're doing it, before the other person asked for it. You're being generous. And then what happens is reciprocity happens. A lot of great stuff happens to you and some bad stuff too. And guess what? That's life. Well, the third value is appreciation. And appreciation is love in reaction. So our response to everything will be appreciation. I want to repeat that. Our response to everything will be appreciation. We're going to appreciate all the good stuff. We're also going to appreciate all the bad stuff because the bad stuff makes us what we are and helps us, develop and grow as human beings. And in some cases, the bad stuff turns into better opportunities throughout our life than sometimes even the good stuff. So those are our 3 values: love, generosity, and appreciation. We have the 3 principles or hashtags. We have 3 hashtags. It's give first, it's give thanks, and it's hashtag give back. And you've heard a lot of our give back campaigns throughout 2023 and beyond. And we're big on our give back campaign. We built 25 homes through Habitat for Humanity and so much great stuff with generosity generation. And then, that leads to the referral mastery system. And the referral mastery system has 3 pillars within it. And the 3 pillars are self-mastery, which is our 1-to-none strategy. And these are 1-to-none strategies. These are 1 to ourselves. We need to connect with ourselves. And, one of the acronyms you're going to hear a lot in self-mastery is FLY, which is first love yourself. It's really hard to love on others if we don't first love ourselves. And that's our first value is love. So start with ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to forgive ourselves. We need to pour into ourselves. And we have to realize that there's nothing more attractive than growth. And so what is your growth plan? How are you going to grow in 2024? And I will tell you that if you have a growth plan, even if it's easy, even if it's just a little bit, you will be more attractive and get more referrals in 2024. So this is the 1 to none is self-mastery, and fly is first love yourself. And what are your growth plan, your time, your energy? How are you working on yourself, your rituals, your rhythm, your schedule? And then we have the second pillar is relationship mastery. And relationship mastery is our one-to-one strategies. How are you at one-to-one conversations? How are you on the phone? How are you with a handwritten note? These one-to-one communication aspects. And, how are you at a buyer's consultation, seller consultation? How are you at a listing presentation? How are you in a networking one-to-one? Have you mastered that? And, how is your one-to-one interaction? We have to realize that life is full of these one-to-one interactions. Dating is a lot of one-to-one interaction. How are you at that aspect? And so on and so forth. I'm horrible at it. You know why? Is because I've been married or with my spouse for at least 30 years. I mean, I've been with her longer than I've been on my own, which is just amazing if you think about it, though I don't look that old. I'm just throwing that out. So, we have the relationship mastery aspect. And to be totally honest, 7L was written to fill what I saw as a humongous gap in the business relationship building world. And it's really focused on that one-to-one relationship mastery aspect. It was really written for that. I didn't go into event mastery or self-mastery a whole lot in the book, one chapter and a few mentions. So that leads us to the third principle or pillar of referral mastery system. And the third pillar is event mastery. It's the one-to-many pillar of what we're doing. And these are one-to-many strategies. How are you in events, in groups? And how are you at hosting events? How are you at attending events? Parties, seminars, webinars, different things. And we talk in that a lot about event mastery, and we talk about the YAPs, and those are yearly appreciation plan, which includes events. And then we also have the yearly ambassador program, which is for your top people, your ambassadors, your brand ambassadors. And we talk about having, some events for them throughout the year as well. So those give you a little bit of a background about what we're all about here. If you want to know more, you can go to referralmasteryacademy.com. I encourage you to sign up. I truly believe it's the biggest no-brainer in business. It's biggest no-brainer when you want to invest in yourself or in your business. It's also, tax deductible. You can write it off 100% because it is an investment in yourself and in your business. Like I said, I truly believe it's one of the biggest no-brainers ever. And you'll see a video from us where we do our RMA reveal, and it'll show you all the different things, including the live classes, which throughout the year. And then we have 2 masterminds that are live per month. And then we have coaching. And then we also have the agent track, buyer agent mastery, seller agent mastery, many other things. And then we also have the on-demand courses, which, you can take anytime you want at your own pace, and get that, devour that information when you're ready for it. So that's Referral Mastery Academy. Check it out at referralmasteryacademy.com. We'd love to have you as an ambassador, and we appreciate you. So without further ado, let's jump into our top 10 episodes of 2023 list, but we're with the big dogs now. These are the top 5 most downloaded episodes and most popular episodes of 2023. So we're going to start with number 5, of course, episode 296, the 2 critical things you must do for yourself and your business this summer, with Michael J. Maher and Sherry L. Maher as my co-host. And we talk about a couple of really powerful things for the summer. But what's amazing about that is they really apply for you right now as well. So because summer is so much like the first of the year. Now, I'm going to bury the lead. I'm not going to disclose the secret of this episode. You're going to have to listen to this excerpt about what are the 2 critical things you must do for yourself and your business right now. And you get the opportunity to get value from something that we did last May. And I love it. I love what you're going to get out of this. And when you hear the different things and the 2 critical things, you're probably going to shake your head and go, you know what? Those are two things that I need to do right now. And without further ado, let's jump into the episode. This is the number 5 out of the top 10 episodes of 2023. It's episode 296, the 2 critical things you must do for yourself and your business this summer and right now. Enjoy the excerpt. All you're going to do is establish a ritual. What happened is you got into a rhythm when the kids were in school. You got into a rhythm, and the kids got into a rhythm with school. And then school's out. It's mayhem in the ahem, people. It is chaos. It is you're figuring out when to get out or get up and get going, and your teenagers is sleeping till noon. Or your teenagers getting up at 7 and wondering what to do and eating breakfast on their own, and it's all sugar sweets. And, you go down there and they're eating a Snickers bar and you're wondering what happened to breakfast, right? And it's like, all right, what is your ritual? And guess what? How much control do you have over your morning? And the thing about it is now you have infinite control. You have 100% control over your morning and your morning ritual. So what is your dim time? What time are you going to go to bed each night? And you're like, well, I don't care. My kid's 10 or my kid's 15 or whatever it is. If they want to go to bed at 1 a.m. or 4 a.m., I don't care, right? You're just going to let it. I'm telling you, that may not be the healthiest thing for you or them or the relationship between you and your kids. Now, some of you are super structured and you've already established that 11 p.m. is curfew. 11 p.m. is the family dim time. And I will tell you, for us, that's where we've gone. Is we were at 10 o'clock dim time and now it's a little bit later. So, Max feels like he's getting the icing on the cake of summer that we're going to go to bed a little bit later. But here's the thing. So your morning ritual, it doesn't have to have all of the components, but I'm going to go over them so that some people are brand new to us. And I want everyone here, by the way, even those that have practiced this for 765 consecutive days are going to get something when I go through the acronym, right? The acronym is SAVERS with 2 A's. So it's SAVERS. First is the S for silence. And I have to tell you, I am a huge believer in getting some sunlight and getting some silence. So I would almost add an extra S to SAVERS, and it would be sunlight and silence. Now, some of you get up before the sun is out, but get that sunlight as soon as you can. As soon as that sun comes up, get it. There are so many studies. Look at Dr. Luberman, right? Or Huberman, and look at all these different people who are talking about the power of light in our, circadian rhythms and what's going on with us biomechanically. And it's one of those where sunlight and silence. So that can be simply sitting there and gradually waking up. It can be prayer. It can be meditation, right? It can be breathing. It can be stretching. It can be yoga. It can be it could just sit there and just relax or stand or sit cross-legged, whatever it may be. But here's the factor. Have a place for it. Have a place for your silence. It can be a room. It can be a chair. It can be, I will tell you, I just love the back patio awning, which is like, and it has a fan and the sun is blocked and all the landscaping around me. And just, I have this outdoor chair that's also like a rocking chair. And it's just like, as the sun comes up, it is the most miraculous, incredible feeling of serenity and peace that you can ever imagine. And have that. Now, you may not have that backyard. We don't have that backyard anymore. So it's like what you might need is to create that place in your house, in a spare room, in the basement, in maybe it's your back patio, right? Or maybe it's your back deck. but find a space, and you don't necessarily, it doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be maybe uncluttered and peaceful, right? Sherry, where do you typically go for your morning ritual time?
We have a workout area in our basement. And so I have a yoga mat down there, and I make sure that all the lights are off. And I just have one candle that's lit for lighting. And the sun, I get up before the sun gets up, so it's dark anyway, but it's just like, that's where everything is super quiet for me.
And I mean, the symbolism of lighting a candle, right? It reminds me of John F. Kennedy, right? It's like, we are not here to curse the darkness. We are here to light a candle. Now, I don't sound like John F. Kennedy, but I was trying hard there. But it's like, we are not here to curse the darkness. We are here to light a candle. Think about that, right? A light, the other thing too, the amazing things about light is just like, you can see like a candle from almost a mile away in the pitch black of night. I just like, think about that. Like how in tune our brain is for light, especially fire, right? And so the candle is great, and the candle just keeps it's that dim time kind of feel, right? It keeps it. What did you ever do it without the candle before, or is it one candle?
It's one candle, but it has 3 wicks in it. It's like not a big round one, but it's
So one candle with three lights, right? 3 wicks.
3 wicks, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you like about doing it by candlelight versus, maybe the pitch black or the darkness?
I guess I don't like the total darkness, because our basement is dark. Like, we don't have, it's not like a big walkout basement. So like when we turn the lights off and I like cover the one window down there, like it's dark.
Well, it is a walkout basement, but you would you would walk into the
but we have those barn doors,
game room, and exactly.
Yeah, we have the barn doors that
so it's pretty dang dark, and you don't want to be just in the pitch black, right? We're afraid of the dark, and not you personally, but me. But here's the other thing: that room is our weight room, and it has a dimmer switch on it. So why not just use the dimmer switch and put it on low?
It's too light.
Okay, so you just like it barely lit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the key. And what do you do in your silent time? All right.
I always do guided meditations. I always do guided meditations. There's thousands to choose from. I have an Insight timer.
Yep. So you use earbuds, and you're using your phone to get warmed up, which is probably a discipline you've had to use. I will tell you that the phone can be a distraction for me in the morning. So it's one of those where if you can go straight to the guided meditation and roll with it, then that works great. But if other people are out there and you're a little ADD like I am, then maybe having the phone as part of your morning ritual is not necessarily the best way to go. So I love that. And so you're using guided meditation and breathing exercises and just waking up very gently to your body, right? And so that leads us to, after the first 2 S's of sunlight and silence, leads us to the A's of affirmations and appreciations. So affirmations are essentially positive self-talk. And in many cases, we need someone to be our biggest cheerleader, and that someone needs to be us. We need to be our biggest cheerleader. So, I'm a best-selling author. I was saying that for a year before the book 7L even came out, and it became a very successful book, and I became a best-selling author. And it's one of those, like, all of these things. I am a referral generating machine. I am a referral generating machine. And it's like, so that's where the whole referral mastery system came from, is what would a referral generating machine do every day? And I'm actually going to cover one of those things at the back half of this podcast. But affirmations are critical to growing and leading, because what happens is you're programming yourself. You've been programmed. Somebody said you weren't enough. They said you weren't an artist. They said you're dumb. They said you can't draw. They said you can't play a musical instrument. They said you can't sing. They said you can't catch. They say you're clumsy. They said, whatever it may be. And guess what? After a while you start believing it. And the truth is we're all geniuses, and we can pretty much be taught anything. Over time, consistent practice, we can become almost anything we would ever want to be. I heard the other day, 18 minutes a day, and by the end of the year, you will be better than 95% of whoever does that if you just spend 18 minutes a day. Welcome back. So are you going to do those two things in the next 3 months? You could. You definitely could if you're in Referral Mastery Academy. You definitely should, and we'd love to have you. So that is the number 5. Now we're on to number 4, and I love this one. What we did is we went in the Generosity Generation community, our joingengen.com. I encourage you to join one of the top referral communities in the world. And we voted, and we had the Gen vote on what their favorite episode was of 2023. And we were going to add it as a bonus. Like it was going to be like, top 10 plus 1. And it was already in the top 10. So guess what? We put it in its appropriate slot. And this is Gen's number 1 most favorite episode. And this was episode 300, Building a Robust Referral Database, the episode 300 celebration. And what we did is we combined that with episode 212, which was featuring Tania MacLeod and myself. And what we did is we did a coaching session live on the air on Referrals Podcast. You were a fly on the wall and listened in as Tania allowed you to hear me coaching her, one of my coaching clients, Tania. And we helped organize her database, and we went deep into, all right, what's next? What do we need to do next? So we talk about, multipliers. We talk about plus people. We talk about, how do you segment and differentiate within your database to deliver the most value to all of the people. And there are people in your database who deserve more of you. I say, give your best, your best. Give your best to your best. Give your best, which is your time, energy, effort, and money, to your best people in your database. And we dive deep into that during this session, and you're going to love it. You're going to love it. So this is episode 300, where we talk about building a robust referral episode, but this is our episode 300 celebration. This was our 300th episode of Referrals Podcast, which makes me nod my head. I'm just shaking my head like that's incredible that we're at 300 episodes. I came kicking and screaming to the podcast world. I did not want to do it. I knew what time, energy, effort, and money it was going to take. And now I'm so glad we do it. I love our system. I love our rhythm. I love that we get the opportunity to take a Tania and shine a light on her and let the world see what we see with our RMA ambassadors and coaching clients. I just love it. And we're not going to end in any, foreseeable future. We're in it to win it, and we're in 100%. And this episode is it's one of my favorites of all time, not just from 2023. It's number 4 on our top 10 episodes of 2023. It's episode number 300 / episode 212, Building a Robust Referral Database, our episode 300 celebration with Tania MacLeod and myself, sharing a coaching session with you. Enjoy this excerpt, and just know that you need to give Tania thanks for letting you be a fly on the wall in this private session. Here you go. There is actually a better way to go into a one-to-one meeting than having been warmed up by 5 to 7 people. Do you know what that is, Sherry? What's a better way to go into a meeting than even like having 5 to 7 people sing your praises?
Going into a meeting with referrals.
That is the right answer. There's no better way to go into a meeting than having referrals for the person you're talking to in your pocket, ready to go. If you want to give them to them, you don't have to give them to them, but isn't it great? So what we're going to do now is we're going to do what I considered the triangle of trust calls. And these are calls to my ambassadors and champions. You've heard me talk about rating and grading your database and grading it A+, A, B, C, and D. A pluses are ambassadors, A's are champions, and so on and so forth. You've also heard me talk about grading the database by energy. And we talk about multipliers, which are people who they energize you at a very high level. Super awesome people. And then the plus people who are positive people. They're people who you hang out with, they're fun, that kind of thing. And then the zeros are neutrals. You don't know them, or you just don't know them well. And then the minuses are people who, kind of take away your energy a little bit and just, you don't feel like it drives you much. You'd wear sweats to the meeting with them, that kind of thing. And then you have the divisive, right? So you've got a minus with a dot above and below it for a division sign. And there's the divisive toxic people that you just need to really avoid and delete from your life, right? And so this would be a call to the multipliers in your database, the multipliers that you know, or the A pluses and A's that you know. So I'm just going to model it for everybody so that everybody understands the power of what I'm doing, right? So the first thing is know that I'm going to be calling the top people in my database, and I'm looking for opportunities to meet the best people they know. And I have this saying, when you meet up, meet up. When you meet up, meet up. Meet people who are more successful than you, right? More connected than you. And so that's the root and the value of these phone calls, right? So I'm going to call Sherry. Sherry's going to be my ambassador and play along with us. The best way to learn sometimes is through example. So I think that's going to come. You're going to see the power of this as I go through this. But this is me implementing the triangle of trust on phone calls to my database, especially to my ambassador champions who I talk to quite regularly. So, all right. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Sherry Maher, what is up? Hey, listen, do you have a couple of minutes? I know you're super busy and I've only got a couple of minutes too. Do you have a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. So here's the deal. Do you have a CPA?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Hesitation in that. So here's the thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is they're awful and 10, they're awesome. How would you rate your CPA?
3.
A 3. Yeah. What would it take to make them a 10?
Better communication, quicker response, more advanced planning strategies.
Okay. Very interesting. So here's what I'm doing, just so you know, is I'm calling the best of the best people I know, like people like you. And what I'm doing is I'm asking some of them, who's your CPA? And they're ranking their CPA. Now I'm going to get CPAs that are ranked 10, 11, and 12. Seriously, I've had people say out of 10, they're at 12. Now, I'm then going to meet with 2 or 3 of these CPAs. If I feel like one of the CPAs really makes a lot of sense for you, would you be open to meeting that CPA if there was no obligation? Would it be all right if I connected you to that CPA?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a new CPA.
Yeah, so I'll interview them for you. I'll check them out for you. I'll ask about speed to response. I'll ask about, being creative with ideas and being proactive. I'll ask about the things that you're kind of looking for. If I feel like maybe they're a fit, then I'll connect the 2 of you through a 3-way text. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Do you mind if I ask you about financial planner? Do you have a financial planner?
Yes.
So what would you rate your financial planner on a scale of 0 to 10?
Probably a 6.
Okay. So similar scenario, right? So here's the thing. I'm going to be talking to people about their financial planner, and I'm going to get some 10s. If I find a 10, would you mind meeting with a 10 or two? It won't cost you anything. You can just talk to them, right?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So do you have a landscaper? Somebody that takes care of the yard, things like that. How would you rate your landscaper?
10.
10 out of 10. I love it. What do you like about your landscaper?
They come every week. They're consistent. They, if I have a question, they'll answer it. They, take care of stuff right away.
Oh, I love it. So are you open to introducing me to your landscaper? What I'm doing is I'd love to have people that I could refer to my referral network, and people that are 10s and 11s and 12s are all I'm looking for. So would you mind connecting me to them?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great. All right. So I'd love the information. I'd get the information. And then here's the thing. So let's say you just gave me the information. I would then say, hey, listen, would you do me a favor? Would you call, Joanne, the one that runs the landscape group, and would you call Joanne and just let her know that I'll be reaching out to her? Would you let them know?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to call them about 4, and I know it's about 2:30 now. Okay. So if you could do that in the next hour, that'd be great. And then I'll reach out to her at 4 o'clock. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Well, that's 2 minutes. And I just wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity. Oh, one last question before I go is I just thought of this because I think I know the answer to this, but how about attorney, like an estate attorney? Do you have an estate attorney?
I do.
Yeah. And how would you rate your estate attorney?
10.
10 out of 10, right?
10 out of 10.
Yeah. And so would you mind connecting me to them?
Sure.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate that. Once again, I'll call him at 4 o'clock today. If you could reach out to him before that, that'd be great. Right. And now, so stepping out of the role play, first of all, Sherry, as a recipient of that call, did you feel any pressure? Did you feel any negativity? Did you feel any...
No.
So what did you feel? So talk about how you felt.
I felt helpful, with the landscaper referral to you. Yep. Like there was 2 categories where like I needed help, and then there were 2 categories where I could help. So I kind of like the yin and yang of that.
Yeah. So in this case, it worked out 2 and 2, right? But sometimes it works out 0 for 4 for them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, where I'm going to be referring. So how do you feel about the 2 people or the 2 professions that I'll be interviewing and kind of talking through and giving back to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I anytime that you can, like when you're especially like on a profession where you like that mattered, like a CPA, like, or a financial planner. I mean, that's how you're going to find those people is by referral. Because when you're just Googling people, like you have no clue, how, what kind of service they really provide. So getting a referral from somebody that's been vetted, like that's hugely helpful, especially when the person I'm talking to, I already have trust and confidence in. Yeah.
100%. The triangle of trust. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then you said the word trust like 9 times. And that's why we do this, And so now, so let's kind of fast forward so I'm going to do 10 of these calls to my top multipliers, top ambassadors, and the top people I know. And now when I'm done with that, I'm going to have like 2 or 3 CPAs that were ranked a 10. And I'm going to have 7 or 8 that people who need CPAs, and maybe it's 7, maybe there's one person that just doesn't need a CPA and doesn't want a CPA, right? Or says no, that you don't necessarily need to connect me, which is fine. But remember, when I meet with those 2 CPAs, what do I have in my pocket? I have 7 referrals.
Yeah,
I have 7
that need a CPA.
7 people who are in. And by the way, the best person to refer the CPA is somebody who's already used the services of a CPA. It's harder for a CPA to convince someone to use a CPA than it is to convince somebody that's already using a CPA to move CPAs. So like Sherry in this example is a really good referral because she's not going to do it herself. She's going to bring on a CPA. So, and then I meet with the financial planner once again, I have 3 or 4, maybe 7 referrals in my pocket, and I could do this. I could give 3 to one and 3 to the other. And here's what happens a lot is I meet with the 2. One of them I jive with. One of them the other one, not so much. There's an arrogance, or there's a offish, or there's just it's just like there's a lack of alignment, right? Or they're just a taker, right? Or they're super aggressive. Mm-hmm. And super aggressive doesn't work in my tribe of trust. It just isn't a great factor. And so guess what? I have one that I can give 7 to, and that's much more the way I kind of like it. Oh, I love my clients. You know what I love? I love implementation. What is the finest form of flattery to a coach? What is the finest appreciation to a mentor? It's implementation. When you are meeting people and you're meeting successful people, maybe you interview them and you take notes on what you learned. One of the best things you can do is implement something that they said, or your turn on something they said, and then report back to them and just say, here's what I did. You want to see a successful person, a mentor, pour into you with more vigor, implement. And that's what I love about Tania is her implementation. And, she's living the dream because of it. She's got 2 kids in college, maybe 3 kids now in college, and we're talking Power 5 schools. And luckily, they got a little bit of a athletic scholarship. They're phenomenal lacrosse players, but you know what? College is still expensive, and her real estate business is having the opportunity for them to go to the finest schools in the country. And just love it. Just love what we're doing here. Just love what the implementers are doing. When people commit to the referral mastery system, lives are changed, not just theirs, but their families, but their clients, but the people around them and their community. And it's a beautiful thing. And speaking of it's a beautiful thing, wouldn't it be great if you could grow your real estate business without actually talking about real estate? If people just came to you and they were attracted to you and they wanted to do whatever business you're in, like, let me know and we'll do it. We'll refer you, we'll work with you, whatever it may be. That's what we call like Uber attraction. And we have another one of our RMA ambassadors, and it's our number 3 most popular and most downloadable episodes that we have ever done. And it is episode number 309, How to Grow Your Real Estate Business Without Talking About Real Estate Business, with Lindsay Rice. And we go deep into event mastery with Lindsay. And we talk about these like amazing accidents that happen, in one case in her backyard. Literally in her backyard, that turns into a huge source of referrals and business. But it takes being out there, and it takes being willing to host and take the risk of having events. And this is definitely an event mastery type of aspect of it. And Lindsay shares how she got tons and tons of referrals from her flagship events, her series of events. The secret is in the series. The secret's in the series. Don't just do one event. Don't do none. You're not going to do 0 events, right? You're not, but don't just do one. Like, have a series of events, have 2 events, have 3 events, have 4 events, whatever makes sense for you, but don't have more than 4. That's just too many. All right. So that leads us to number 3. These are big dogs. Like, these are big download numbers. These are big popularity numbers. And it's number 3, episode 309, How to Grow Your Real Estate Business Without Talking About Real Estate, with Lindsay Rice and Michael J. Maher. Enjoy this conversation about creating a signature event and creating a signature series of events. Enjoy this episode. Here you go. Recently, you had an accident. Not a torn Achilles, like I did, thank God. But you actually had an accidental event. So tell us a little bit about what happened there.
So my husband and I had been talking about community. And as we were onboarding this agent and talking about not always be closing, just always be connecting. Right. And I know the cliche, it's a relationship game. Okay. But it is. But like, how do you teach that? Right. How do you teach that? And then even for me, I have stepped out of production for years. And I've been behind the scenes. I've been quiet, just kind of building out the operations side and doing all of this. And he says, you need to come out. You need to come out more. You need to connect. People want to hear what you have to say, and people want this, and people want to learn. And I said, okay.
People want more Lindsay. People want more Lindsay. And by the way, this is a really good opportunity for you to come out, Lindsay. This Referrals podcast is a great opportunity for people to meet Lindsay.
Well, there you go. There you go. So
welcome to the world.
Welcome. I'm coming out. So, so we had this conversation about community events, and that's where it is. I was dabbling in, maybe we should circle prospect. Maybe we should cold call. And he's like, we need to have a conversation. So we sat down and we said, let's do more of what we've already been doing. Mm-hmm. And people need community. People need us. They truly need guidance. They need leadership of all sorts, not just in real estate.
That's right.
And we both have that, right? We have spent years on ourselves. And that's a lot of what I've been doing behind the scenes. And so that's why I feel more inclined to share, to come out and connect with people, because I have worked a lot on myself in the past couple of years. And so he said, let's start connecting and sharing and giving back and leading for those people who might be where you were 3 years ago. And let's do that through this home that he dreamed. We're in his dream home. I'm okay with the home, but this is something he wanted. And so we started having small events. I said, all right, I can commit to smaller. These big parties, they give me anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I can't do that, but I'll commit to smaller events. Yeah. So
Lindsay, I just want you to know, introvert to introvert, it's harder to hide at smaller events. I'm just saying it's harder to hide. The big events, and that's why you've liked the big events, to be quite honest, is because you don't have to come out and be in front of the crowd, right? He can do it. Everybody else can do it. And you get to be operations, right?
Well, guess what? I wish we would have had this conversation before the last barbecue. Like, I learned that, right? I didn't relax until everybody left, except for my parents.
Of course.
So they're in my house. But at any rate, it was nice. And it was small, and we, got some steaks. We made it really casual. And we realized, gosh, everybody here, at least 90% of them were clients. And it was small. We kept it small. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, we're not going to get up and talk about real estate. But what I am going to do is, and my husband is like a paparazzi, right? He snaps, he captures his whole life. And so I said, I'm going to take those pictures and I'm just going to send thank you notes and thank everybody for just always supporting us, because they all truly care about us and we care about them. Mm-hmm. And just put a picture of them on the front of the card and just said, thank you so much for coming. And I hope you enjoyed. I made everything from scratch. I didn't even cater it. And so I said, I hope you enjoyed all the food. And we just really appreciate all the support you've given Ryan and I from a personal standpoint and from a business standpoint. And kind of, we love you. And everybody called me and thanked me for a thank you note. I'm like, why are you calling me and thanking me for a thank you note? And they said, wow, it's just, I would say almost, I think everybody I sent the note to called me.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, in my opinion. I mean, and it's it's one of those where it's not like you have to be the best friend for 2,000 people, but those 2,000 might consider you their best friend. I mean, that's what's interesting. I mean, because they can count on you. I mean, it's amazing. There's 50,000 people that could call me at 2 a.m. that they're inebriated and need a ride home or are in trouble and need some help. And I would respond. And they know I would respond. I once got a limo to drive about 100 miles to pick somebody up for a similar case as that. And it's one of those where that's what it is, right? They can count on you. They can count on your husband. And when you get that support and you get those close friends, it's just magical. That's what this is really all about. So I love that you had an accidental dinner that turned into fantastic, fellowship and that kind of thing. And you didn't make it a real estate event. None of these are client events. They're all friends and family events, right? What's the first rule of customer appreciation events is don't call them customer appreciation events. What's the first rule of client events? Don't call them client events. They're friends and family events. So, so you're going to have more of those in the future, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to host. October is National Women's Small Business Month or something like that. So I've reached out to my community and asked who's a women entrepreneur who does direct sales, because I know there are a lot of people that have these side hustles. I'm one of them. Yeah. And they're either quiet about it or they are too busy in their real career or their real job. And so I thought about having them over, everybody kind of invite some of their friends, and it kind of expands everybody's network, and they can talk about their product, and we could just hang out and have some, mimosas or, whatever we want to have. And so that's what I'm thinking of doing at the end of October.
Well, there is an event called Moms and Mimosas, right? So you might want to spend it into like Mimosas Mamas, boss babes, that. Right? Kind of a spin on the boss babes, right?
I like that.
So I like it. And all right. So that's going to be any other events on the horizon for you guys?
Yeah. So we also do, which it's kind of become our event now. And there's disc golf, frisbee golf. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's, yeah. So my husband had played at the professional level for quite some time. And so he built this community of disc golf, and a lot of our clients are disc golfers. And so we will sponsor a lot of events through the year, lunches, or sometimes, whatever. And so a couple of years ago, we were asked to participate in the annual Ice Bowl, which is a national event that they all around the country, different local groups will host an event in the winter, and all that money goes to hunger. So whether it's Capital Area Food Bank or your local hunger or charity, that's where the money goes. So 2 years ago, we were given the opportunity, and we were able to take over the county and host it, and we were able to call it the Rice Bowl.
Wow.
And
went from the Ice Bowl to the Rice Bowl?
Yes. Yeah. So that's in February every year. You can pick, it's through most weekends in winter. And this year we were given the opportunity at a very famous golf course to have it there. Wow. And that's a big deal. So we have a course designer coming in to put up the baskets, and, it's a challenge in terms of attendees, because there's not a lot of people that will just come out and play disc golf.
Yeah, right.
So it is smaller, it's niche, it's just within the disc golf community. We're raising money. And last in February, we collectively in the county, all of the games that went on, we raised $40,000.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for such a niche event, that's amazing to raise $40,000.
It was awesome. And I had been hands off for a while. This year, somebody kind of stepped down. And so now they've asked if I wanted to step up. And the reason I said yes is because now I get to handle the registration.
Welcome back. Was that fantastic or what? Lindsay, another one of my favorite people in the world. She is a doer, an implementer, and just does it with class, does it with grace, and so referable. What a great model for the referral mastery system, the generosity generation, and loving every minute of it. Now, speaking of lovable and wonderful people, this next person is one of my favorite people on the planet, and once again, launched a book. And that's one of the things that I love doing with Referrals Podcast is we launch bestsellers. When people have books that they're getting ready to promote, people, by the way, we get 3 to 4 requests a week for people to be on the podcast. either they're launching a book or they're launching a program and we say no to every single request. Now, we've let maybe 4 or 5 through in the last 3 to 4 years, but it's not just selling something. We have to support and promote the things that align with our values of love, generosity, and appreciation. So, our number 2, you got to realize these are the top 2 episodes of the year. And we're talking tens of thousands of downloads. And now this one also was great with a great person, with a book launch, and also was in January. So had the time and also just had a lot of things going for it. And I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite episodes of all time as well. And the number 2 on the top 10 most downloaded, most popular episodes of 2023. Number 2, people, runner up, but still like number 2 is Creating Superfans, How to Build an Army of Ambassadors with Brittany Hodak and Michael J. Maher. How to take your current clients and turn them into superfans. And we actually share her acronym, SUPER, from her book. And we tell you how to create lifelong fans on social media and in person. And this conversation is high-minded, 2 people who have researched and mastered this element of customer service and gathering people and building a community. And this was a fantastic. And just to kind of fill in the rest of the story is that we did this episode and we sold thousands upon thousands of Brittany's books. And I gave away many books. I bought several cases from her and gave away those books. And then like it got out. And so Cynthia Yosha Snyder had referred me to speak at an event. And the person who was doing the event actually was doing 2 events. And they asked me and they asked Cynthia, who is someone else that would be great to speak at this second event? Somebody in line with Michael J. Maher. And guess what? It was Brittany Hodak. And so, that's how this works is when you build the community. It's a referral community. We're all connected and we're here to help people and connect. And by the way, thank you for the referrals, Cynthia Yosha Snyder out of Indianapolis. And Brittany also thanks you for the referral, Cynthia. And she's already thanked me as well. And I just love this. You're going to love her and you're going to love this excerpt. Here it is. What is a super fan?
Well, a super fan is a customer or stakeholder who has such an amazing experience with your brand that they're going to come back and also tell their friends. Mm-hmm. So they become an enthusiastic advocate. This is someone who, to put it in the simplest terms possible, a super fan is a satisfied customer who creates more customers, which I know is something that everybody tuning into the Referrals podcast is all about, getting those warm referrals, having those customers create more customers for them.
That's right. Right. The Army of Ambassadors is similar, kind of right. Brand ambassadors, people that are out there speaking highly of you, referring you. And all right. So you have this 5-step super fan system that boosts reputation, referrals, and revenue, which, by the way, love that, right? So what are these 5 steps?
So I call these 5 steps the super model. And I call it that because it's fun, right? And who doesn't want to get to say that they know a supermodel?
Yeah.
But also because, again, in my experience, if a system is going to stick, it's got to be simple to remember, simple to use, simple to share with your team so that there's a common language and a common framework. So if you want to create super fans, being great is not good enough. You've got to be super. And super is S. Start with your story.
Wait. It's an acronym.
It's an acronym.
Oh my God, I love you. Stop. This is, oh my God, I got chills.
It's gotta be super simple. I told you.
Super simple. Well, I love this. All right. So all right. Flip over the page, write SUPER down the left. Let's go. I'm so ready for this. This is the
part to take notes, everybody.
Awesome. All right. So yes. Super. All right. This is a
super.
5-step system, which makes sense. There's 5 letters in super. I get
There
it.
are.
You know how smart
That
I
checks
am?
out.
I catch on quick.
I don't normally love math, but that's math I can do. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we promise our listeners there would be no math, and that's why we have so many listeners. So
Okay, great. We're all the same kind of people then. I love it. All right. So super S, start with your story. And when I say start with your story, I don't mean lead with your story. I don't mean you should be out there trying to get everyone to listen to you talk before they talk. What I mean is that your story is what sets you apart from everyone else in the world who's trying to do what you're trying to do. What is your uniqueness? What is your superpower? What are you the absolute best at? Because if you don't know, and if you're not articulating it clearly, how in the world is a customer ever going to be able to figure it out? How is a prospect going to be able to figure it out? Spoiler alert, they probably won't. They will make the determination that you must be just like everybody else doing what you're doing. You become a commodity provider, not a category leader. And with great storytelling that's all rooted in who you are and what your uniqueness is, you can become not just a category leader, but perhaps even a category of one in the minds of your prospects and your customers, which means everything at the top of the funnel gets much easier, right? You've got much more highly referred clients and prospects that are coming to you. They want to work not with somebody who does what you do, but with you, because you are best in class. So that's S. Start with your story.
Boom. What a great way to start. Love it. Love it. You
understand your customer story. I like to say that superfans are created at the intersection of your story and every customer's story. So it's only natural that after getting clear on your story, you turn your focus to your customer. Who is it that you are best positioned to serve? And, there's a great quote that I love from Teddy Roosevelt. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it is just as true today as it was all those generations ago when Mr. Roosevelt first said it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And yet so often we try to lead with authority instead of empathy. So in truly understanding your customer story. And in the book, I talk about active listening. I actually offer a secondary framework that's all about your customer story and how to understand that, what it means to really identify what they're struggling with, the transformation that they're looking for. But really, it comes down to active listening and showcasing empathy alongside authority to make sure that you really understand what it is that they need, not just on the surface, but what is it that you can do to make their life better.
Yeah, that is so powerful. I just remember installing one simple question into my seller questionnaire, buyer questionnaire, and my networking conversations. And it was, how are you feeling right now? Like we would be talking about something and so on and so forth. And it's just like, how are you feeling right now? Like, the buyer is typically anxious and, overwhelmed and so on. And a seller is a lot of times, overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed, anxious, sometimes excited. But it's one of those where who asks another human being, how are you feeling right now? And it's somebody who cares, it's somebody, and I did genuinely care, but it was one of those where it's like, sometimes I would get so in business mode and not in human mode. And we need to remember the human mode. And that's it went back to exactly what you said is, it shows you care instead of you thinking that you care. So I
love that question. And honestly, anyone can improve their customer experience just with that question. I mean, look at last year when it went super viral when that reporter asked Meghan Markle if she was okay. And she was like, not many people have asked me, right? It's understanding how our customers feel.
Yeah. And I wonder if the reporter actually cared, right? I mean, I hope that the reporter did, but not just, not just ask, but like listen to the answer and care about the answer. And it is one of those, like, what are you thinking and how are you feeling? Those two questions have helped improve relationships for me than maybe anything else, rather than wondering or thinking that, how they think or feel. It's been powerful. I love that. Understand your customer story and show them that you care. Love it.
Yeah. It reminds me of what you just said of Oprah, which, she's doing all right for herself, right? Oprah is somebody who's figured a lot of things out. On the very last day of her talk show, she was reflecting on everything that she had done over the years. And I'm going to get the quote a little bit wrong because I'm saying it from memory, but she said something like, on this show, I've talked to 30,000 people or whatever the number was, and they all wanted the exact same thing. And that thing was validation. They wanted to know, and again, these are Oprah's words. They wanted to know, do you see me? Do you hear me? And does what I say matter? And if you validate people, if you show them by listening that they do matter, and you're not trying to sell any house, you're trying to sell their house. You're not trying to find the next home for a family. You're trying to find a next home for their family. And that's why it matters. You will create those super fans. You will get people who will be out there very enthusiastically referring you because the experience they had, because you made them feel like the most important customer in the world, which is how everyone who works with you should feel.
That's right. Love that. All right. We've got to move to P.
P, personalize. I said before, super fans are created at the intersection of your story and your customer story. P is that third step, that magical time when those two things collide. So what can you do to create amazing experiences that are personalized for your customer? I love the book, The Platinum Rule. Michael, are you familiar with The Platinum Rule?
Yeah, Tony Alessandro is actually a really good friend, and he endorsed 7L. And I absolutely love the Platinum Rule and believe in it to no end. Right? So
amazing.
I'm huge fan. Yes,
huge
I'm
fan.
a super fan of Tony's as well as yours. So this is. I'm going to tell him that we brought him up. So
please do. Please let him know I mentioned him in the book, because I am a huge believer in the Platinum Rule. And for anybody listening who's not familiar with it, the Platinum Rule says don't treat others the way you want to be treated, because not everyone wants to be treated the same way as you. And this is especially true in real estate. You're working with people who, as you said before, Michael, are probably stressed, are probably anxious, maybe feeling overwhelmed, don't know what they don't know. So instead of treating people the way you think they would want to be treated, instead of treating people the way you would want to be treated in their footsteps, or the way you think they should want to be treated, treat them the way they actually want to be treated, by talking to them, by understanding, by getting to know what their preferences are, what it is that they want from you. And if you can treat people the way that they actually want to be treated consistently, they will have an amazing experience. And this may mean it's a little bit harder for you. This may mean you have to do things in several different ways. There are some people who are going to want to talk to you through Instagram DM. There are some people who are going to text you. There are some people who are going to want to be on the phone. There's some people who are Facebook Messenger people. Is it annoying to have to talk to 6 different clients in 6 different places? Maybe. But guess what? If that is what your clients want, that is what you should do. That is how you should do it, because that's what is going to make the experience easier and better for them.
We are ready for number one. Number one. I mean, we're talking tens upon tens of thousands of downloads. And this is not from January. I have to just tell you that I was really surprised when I was told that this was number one. I was really surprised because there's no guest. I'm the guest. It was basically me and Sherry talking, and I talked like 95% of the time, which happens a lot when Sherry interviews. She asks one question and I talk for 20 minutes. She does that for me. I mean, that's why we got married is like, I never talked. And then like, for some reason I would talk to her and, and it works. So there we go. And I do have to give huge thanks to the production staff, everybody involved, Tracy and Robin and Matt and his crew, and Sherry, especially, for being the producer and director of Referrals Podcast. I'm just the talent. I'm just the talking head. And thank them very much for what they've done. And hopefully you'll express that in the Generosity Generation group and joingengen.com. Go there and just, if you've enjoyed the Referrals Podcast, just share a message in there, letting them know how much you've appreciated it. And, I definitely appreciate all the hard work they do. You have no idea what goes on behind the scenes to make those Tuesday launches possible. And we're talking launching on Amazon Audible, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, of course, YouTube, everywhere. To get it on Amazon Audible was a major thing for us. And that's Sherry's touch right there. And just such a great thing. And I feel like, drum roll, right? Drum roll. And can you hear that at all? Can you hear that? Hopefully you can hear that. That's a drum roll, or my hands patting on my desk. So the number one top episode of 2023, we're talking top 10 episodes. This is number one. The number one episode is episode number 295, The Triangle of Trust, Part 4. How to get referrals today in this market. We're talking super high level strategies around the triangle of trust, like spokes to hubs, which is barely mentioned in 7L, power team calls. And I talked about the quasi referral system in this excerpt. And here's the thing. If you listen to episode 295, which is the triangle of trust part 4, you're probably going to want to listen to the parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. It would really, and here's the thing. We could have juxtaposed. We could have finagled the list and made like Triangle of Trust Part 1. We didn't move anything. We just like, all right, these are them. But I'm going to tell you, with the Triangle of Trust Part 4, it's going to be really helpful to listen to Triangle of Trust Part 1, so you get the initial gist of what I would consider one of the most powerful strategies in the referral mastery system, the Triangle of Trust. And the fact of the matter is in today's world, the indirect approach is more powerful than the direct approach. When you approach somebody directly, their barriers come up, the boundaries come up, the walls come up, the trust instantly goes down, which maybe doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's the truth. When they come up or they call you out of the blue, your barriers instantly go up. It's like, why do these people have to cold call? Why do they have to do what are they doing? What are they trying to sell me? What are they trying to get away with? We think of negative people that do this. We think negative people cold call. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like, that's how it works. That's door knock. It's like our first thing is, what are they doing? And here's the thing is the indirect approach is more powerful, more effective, faster, smarter, and better. So the Triangle of Trust is a faster indirect approach where we thought maybe the direct approach would be faster. The direct approach is faster for the rejection, and the indirect approach, like the Triangle of Trust, is far better for avoiding rejection and getting what you want, which is to help that person, and a win-win. So here's what we did. Episodes 292, 293, 294, and 295 are linked in the show notes. So you can actually go to part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. We're going to give you an excerpt from part 4, though. And hopefully this whets your appetite. Hopefully this gets you going to go and examine. Honestly, this is as good a content as you're going to get, in my opinion, when it comes to getting referrals and making connections. And we all know the old ABC was ABC, always be closing. And that world's gone. Nobody likes to be closed, and people rebel and will walk away faster from closing techniques than anything else. And the new ABC of the generosity generation, we're not in the ego era anymore, people. No more wolves on Wall Street, right? Doesn't work, and he's arrested and others are dead, right? It's guess what? We're in the generosity generation, and now the new ABC is A, B, C, always be connecting. Always be connecting. And we need to be connecting with ourselves. We need to be connecting one-to-one deeply with others. And we also need to connect others to others. We need to, connect at multiple levels. And that's notice that lines up very well with self-mastery, connect with yourself, relationship mastery, connect deeply with one another. And then the event mastery is connect others and connect others to others, connect them. So ABC, always be connecting. So the 4-part series in a nutshell, covers success stories, connecting with connectors, the new ABC of sales, which I just covered, and the powerful spokes to hubs strategies, and many other examples that I give you of using the triangle of trust in action. And all episodes are linked in the show notes, but here is an excerpt from the number one most downloaded and most popular episode of Referrals Podcast. It is episode 295, Triangle of Trust, Part 4, How to Get Referrals Today in This Market, Spokes to Hubs, Power Team Calls, and the QRS, the Quasi Referral System. Enjoy. There is actually a better way to go into a one-to-one meeting than having been warmed up by 5 to 7 people. Do you know what that is, Sherry? What's a better way to go into a meeting than even like having 5 to 7 people sing your praises?
Going into a meeting with referrals.
That is the right answer. There's no better way to go into a meeting than having referrals for the person you're talking to in your pocket, ready to go. If you want to give them to them, you don't have to give them to them. But isn't it great? So what we're going to do now is we're going to do what I considered the triangle of trust calls. And these are calls to my ambassadors and champions. You've heard me talk about rating and grading your database and grading it A+, A, B, C, and D. A pluses are ambassadors, A's are champions, and so on and so forth. You've also heard me talk about grading the database by energy. And we talk about multipliers, which are people who they energize you at a very high level. Super awesome people. And then the plus people who are positive people. They're people who you hang out with, they're fun, that kind of thing. And then the zeros are neutrals. You don't know them, or you just don't know them well. And then the minuses are people who, kind of take away your energy a little bit and just, you don't feel like it drives you much. You'd wear sweats to the meeting with them, that kind of thing. And then you have the divisive, right? So you've got a minus with a dot above and below it for a division sign. And there's the divisive toxic people that you just need to really avoid and delete from your life, right? And so this would be a call to the multipliers in your database, the multipliers that you know, or the A pluses and A's that you know. So I'm just going to model it for everybody so that everybody understands the power of what I'm doing, right? So the first thing is know that I'm going to be calling the top people in my database, and I'm looking for opportunities to meet the best people they know. And I have this saying, when you meet up, meet up. When you meet up, meet up. Meet people who are more successful than you, right? More connected than you. And so that's the root and the value of these phone calls, right? So I'm going to call Sherry. Sherry's going to be my ambassador and play along with us. The best way to learn sometimes is through example. So I think that's going to come. You're going to see the power of this as I go through this. But this is me implementing the triangle of trust on phone calls to my database, especially to my ambassador champions who I talk to quite regularly. So, all right. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Sherry Maher, what is up? Hey, listen, do you have a couple of minutes? I know you're super busy and I've only got a couple of minutes too. Do you have a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. So here's the deal. Do you have a CPA?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Hesitation in that. So here's the thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is they're awful and 10, they're awesome. How would you rate your CPA?
3.
A 3. Yeah. What would it take to make them a 10?
Better communication, quicker response, more advanced planning strategies.
Okay. Very interesting. So here's what I'm doing, just so you know, is I'm calling the best of the best people I know, like people like you. And what I'm doing is I'm asking some of them, who's your CPA? And they're ranking their CPA. Now I'm going to get CPAs that are ranked 10, 11, and 12. Seriously, I've had people say out of 10, they're at 12. Now, I'm then going to meet with 2 or 3 of these CPAs. If I feel like one of the CPAs really makes a lot of sense for you, would you be open to meeting that CPA if there was no obligation? Would it be all right if I connected you to that CPA?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a new CPA.
Yeah, so I'll interview them for you. I'll check them out for you. I'll ask about speed to response. I'll ask about, being creative with ideas and being proactive. I'll ask about the things that you're kind of looking for. If I feel like maybe they're a fit, then I'll connect the 2 of you through a 3-way text. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Do you mind if I ask you about financial planner? Do you have a financial planner?
Yes.
So what would you rate your financial planner on a scale of 0 to 10?
Probably a 6.
Okay. So similar scenario, right? So Here's the thing. I'm going to be talking to people about their financial planner, and I'm going to get some 10s. If I find a 10, would you mind meeting with a 10 or 2? It won't cost you anything. You can just talk to them, right?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So do you have a landscaper? Somebody that takes care of the yard, things like that? How would you rate your landscaper?
10.
10 out of 10. I love it. What do you like about your landscaper?
They come every week. They're consistent. They, if I have a question, they'll answer it. They, take care of stuff right away.
Oh, I love it. So are you open to introducing me to your landscaper? What I'm doing is I'd love to have people that I could refer to my referral network, and people that are 10s and 11s and 12s are all I'm looking for. So would you mind connecting me to them?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great. All right. So I'd love the information. I'd get the information. And then here's the thing. So let's say you just gave me the information. I would then say, hey, listen, would you do me a favor? Would you call, Joanne, the one that runs the landscape group, and would you call Joanne and just let her know that I'll be reaching out to her? Would you let them know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them about 4, and I know it's about 2:30 now.
Okay.
So if you could do that in the next hour, that'd be great. And then I'll reach out to her at 4 o'clock. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Well, that's 2 minutes. And I just wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity. Oh, one last question before I go is I just thought of this because I think I know the answer to this, but how about attorney, like an estate attorney? Do you have an estate attorney?
I do.
Yeah. And how would you rate your estate attorney?
10.
10 out of 10, right?
10 out of 10.
Yeah. And so would you mind connecting me to them?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that. Once again, I'll call him at 4 o'clock today. If you could reach out to him before that, that'd be great. Right. And now, so stepping out of the role play, first of all, Sherry, as a recipient of that call, did you feel any pressure? Did you feel any negativity? Did you feel any...
No.
So what did you feel? So talk about how you felt.
I felt helpful, with the landscaper referral to you. Yep. Like there was 2 categories where like I needed help, and then there were 2 categories where I could help. So I kind of like the yin and yang of that.
Yeah. So in this case, it worked out 2 and 2, right? But sometimes it works out 0 for 4 for them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, where I'm going to be referring. So how do you feel about the 2 people or the 2 professions that I'll be interviewing and kind of talking through and giving back to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I anytime that you can, like when you're especially like on a profession where you like that mattered, like a CPA, like, or a financial planner. I mean, that's how you're going to find those people is by referral. Because when you're just Googling people, like you have no clue, how, what kind of service they really provide. So getting a referral from somebody that's been vetted, like that's hugely helpful, especially when the person I'm talking to, I already have trust and confidence in. Yeah.
100%. The triangle of trust. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then you said the word trust like 9 times. And that's why we do this, And so now, so let's kind of fast forward so I'm going to do 10 of these calls to my top multipliers, top ambassadors, and the top people I know. And now when I'm done with that, I'm going to have like 2 or 3 CPAs that were ranked a 10, and I'm going to have 7 or 8 that people who need CPAs, and maybe it's 7, maybe there's one person that just doesn't need a CPA and doesn't want a CPA, right? Or says, no, that you don't necessarily need to connect me, which is fine. But remember, when I meet with those 2 CPAs, what do I have in my pocket? I have 7 referrals.
Yeah,
I have 7
that need a CPA.
7 people who are in. And by the way, the best person to refer the CPA is somebody who's already used the services of a CPA. It's harder for a CPA to convince someone to use a CPA than it is to convince somebody that's already using a CPA to move CPAs. So like Sherry in this example is a really good referral because she's not going to do it herself. She's gonna bring on a CPA. So, and then I meet with the financial planner. Once again, I have 3 or 4, maybe 7 referrals in my pocket, and I could do this. I could give 3 to one and 3 to the other. And here's what happens a lot is I meet with the 2. One of them I jive with. One of them the other one, not so much. There's an arrogance, or there's a offish, or there's just it's just like there's a lack of alignment, right? Or they're just a taker, right? Or they're super aggressive. Mm-hmm. And super aggressive doesn't work in my tribe of trust. It just isn't a great factor. And so guess what? I have one that I can give 7 to, and that's much more the way I kind of like it. Woo-wee. Now, I know that gives you homework. I partially apologize to that. Is that you may want to go back and listen in more detail to one of those episodes. I encourage you to do that. I also understand that you might want to go listen to the other Triangle of Trust episodes, but you have a week to do it. We launch these on Tuesdays. So my encouragement to you is maybe you make it a regular part of your routine to listen to Referrals podcast on a daily basis. And you give yourself 30 minutes to an hour. I know there's a lot of people who do stationary bike or treadmill or elliptical or a walk, and they listen to the podcast while they're doing that, which, you know what, I love that. And we always make them less than an hour so that you can, get your walk done and then, take a shower and get going. And we got that feed in the early days. You'll see some of our episodes were over an hour, some lot longer than an hour. And we got the feedback that there's a lot of people who are exercising and doing the podcast. So, and they wanted them to be, 45 minutes to an hour. And just I'll throw this out there is I really pay attention to you, the listeners, the viewers, the people who give us feedback. The average time for the Referrals podcast this year was 46 minutes. So that's pretty good because I was aiming for 45 as an average. And we can go back to last December and share that, with Sherry or share that meeting that we had. And it's all right. All right. We're going over an hour sometimes. And all right, we got to try to, and guess what? 46 minutes is pretty dang good. Gives you 14 minutes to kind of cool down and get to the next thing. And I listen to you. I appreciate you so much. I'm not the one sitting there downloading 25,000 downloads a month. You are, and you're referring it. I saw a post in Facebook the other day in a group, and people are like, "Hey, what podcast are you listening to?" And it was for real estate agents. What real estate podcast? And Referrals podcast was named like 50 times. And it's just, I'm so thankful of that. I here's what's great. Referrals podcast is referable, and we're going to continue to be referable. And, we're going to continue to shine a light on the great people that we have in the Generosity Generation community and other communities that are people that are loving, generous, and appreciative. And they are doing these systems and structures and strategies that are getting them referrals. So I love it. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you tuning in and kicking butt with everything we're doing. It's one of those where, guess what? We're going back to our regular programming next Tuesday. And here's the thing. We need guests for our podcast. We need you. Do you know how you get on Referrals podcast? I would love to interview you. I'm curious about you. I would love to interview you and find out more about you. What makes you tick? What helps you get referrals? What strategy? And so how do you get on Referrals podcast? You implement, and then you let us know about it. You can either let us know about it in the GenGen group, join gengen.com, or you can email us at podcast@referco.com, podcast, podcast, @referco.com. We want to interview you. We want to make you a star. We want to shine a light on you. And you know what? You're working your butt off in Boise, Idaho, or Lenexa, Kansas, or Santa Clara or something like that. And who's shining a light? That's real. You don't have to buy the cover of a magazine for $5,000 and get reprints and so on and so forth. Guess what? We'll shine a light on you. We'll do it for free. We'll get it out there, and you deserve to be a star. We'd love to interview you. Tell us your story. Email us at podcast@referco.com. We'd love to have you. Also, speaking of loving to have you as an ambassador, join Referral Mastery Academy. Check it out, referralmasteryacademy.com. We talked about the launch. You've heard a lot about it the last couple of weeks, probably, as a lot of people are talking about RMA and CRA, which is our Certified Referral Agent program. But check out Referral Mastery Academy. It is a great place for everybody from beginners to the elite teams of teams. And it's one of those where, guess what? We have CMOs in there. We have team leaders. We have real estate agents. We have lenders. We have everybody from the salesperson to a C-level executive. We'd love to have you. Referralmasteryacademy.com. And just know how much we appreciate you. This was a special edition of the Referrals podcast. We just count down the top 10 episodes of 2023. The final 5 were number 5, episode 296, the 2 critical things you must do for yourself and your business, with myself and Sherry L. Maher. Number 4 was episode 300, building a robust referral database, which was a conglomeration of 300 and episode 212 featuring Tania MacLeod, and how we did a coaching session with you being a fly on the wall, and you got to see me coach and her learn, and I learned a lot from her as well. Number 3, most downloaded and most popular episode was episode 309, How to Grow Your Real Estate Business Without Talking About Real Estate, with Lindsay Rice and Michael J. Maher. And then number 2, most popular episode was episode number 277 in January of last year, Creating Superfans, How to Build an Army of Ambassadors, with Michael J. Maher and Brittany Hodak. And then the number one most downloaded and most popular episode of 2023 was episode number 295, The Triangle of Trust, part 4. We definitely build up that month from episode 292 through 293 up to 294. And then that finale, the grand finale, was the most downloaded episode. And that is The Triangle of Trust, part 4, How to Get Referrals Today in This Market Using Spokes to Hubs, Power Team Calls, and Quasi Referral System, the QRS. And ladies and gentlemen, that is our top 10 episodes for Referrals Podcast in 2023. Thank you so much for listening and viewing and being an ambassador for Referrals Podcast. We'll see you next time.